Part 20. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 191. Quite cute. This is Sakura Eri. During the previous Kojima exam, Sakura-san was revealed to be a top beauty girl who was not inferior to Horikita-san. And she herself told Oreki-san that she had been a model, and as a career in modeling, it was impossible not to be beautiful. Although Sake Inagi-san commented that Sakura-san was Oreki-san's puppy raised in the foreign class. But Oreki thinks Sakura-san is more like a little hamster. Timid, introverted, but very cute. I'm a little embarrassed to ask you to come out during the afternoon break, Oreki-san said. No, Sakura-san waved her hands quickly. Oreki-san also asked me to take pictures before, and then Yamauchi and the others suddenly gave up and returned to the ship. I didn't bother you specifically today. I feel very grateful. Oreki-san must have helped, Sakura said. Oh. So she appears here now to repay a favor. Then there is no need to be polite and go directly to the topic. Actually, I came here to ask you to provide some information about Kurosawa, Oreki said. When he was in the rabbit group this morning, Kurosawa's behavior made him a little concerned. Pretending not to know him. It seems to be hiding something. Oreki, on the other hand, felt that she might have encountered some trouble, but she didn't want to trouble him. From the precognitive dream, you can know the past of Kurosawa classmate, who was bullied by girls because he was cute. Even though I was rescued by him, my heart became fragile and sensitive after such an experience. And now he is also using disguise to protect himself. And since she made this choice, Oreki felt that she could protect her secretly. If there's a problem, deal with it. Kurosawa Megami-san, Sakura-san gently shrank her left hand. Sakura-san hates stalkers, but her own behavior sometimes has the potential to be a stalker. And his character is very timid. At the same time, I am also very sensitive to sight and other things. Also, the sense of presence is not very strong. So it's great for gathering information. Yet Oreki nodded. Has she had anything happen to her in class lately? Maybe there will be some friction with the foreign class, Oreki said. In this class, she seems to be hated by the boys, and she also hates those boys, and I hate it too. Sakura said pitifully. Indeed. When the boys in Class D are admitted, they have to go through some R2 rankings, so it makes sense to hate them. At least, Oreki didn't think students in his class could do such a thing directly. But these seem to be no different from usual, Sakura-san added. But the day before I came here to take the exam, I went to the shopping district to take a selfie. Going to a shopping street to take a selfie? Aren't you quite timid? Oreki-san kept complaining. So keep listening. Then, I saw Kurosawa queuing up at the milk tea shop, but she went out later. And when I came back again, I was accused by a Class C student of jumping in line. Kurosawa-san seemed a little strange at that time, Sakura said. At first it seemed like they wanted to apologize and get back in line. But after Sato-san entered the store, Kurosawa-san refused to apologize. He said that he had been in line before and just walked out. The girl in Class C seemed to be more fragile and felt that she was bullying others, so she ran away crying. Sakura said. I was a little curious about Kurosawa-san's change in attitude, so I remembered it. Oh. Oreki-san probably knows the reason for Megami's different reactions. Because her current hot girl form is an act, disguised to protect herself. Even the leader of the hot girls. So I have to continue to pretend to be strong in front of other hot girls. And the girls in Class C. So. Do you still remember that girl from before? Oreki-san called up the information on his cell phone. Send a message to Manabe, a girl from Class C whom I won when I first opened a store to cheat Class C. Soon. Received a photo of her and her friends. There are 4 girls in the photo. Manabe-san, and the other two girls from today's rabbit team, Nami Yabana and Saki Yamashita, are also there. But there is one more girl who looks very weak, similar to Baibo from Class B. It's this girl. Sakura-san recognized her immediately. It seems to be called Pear Blossom. It seems so. Oreki-san understood. Hui probably felt that he had caused trouble, but didn't want to trouble him, so he kept a distance from him. But, how is she going to solve it herself? Her current posture is all disguised. Thank you for today, Sakura. Oreki-san expressed his thanks to Sakura. Well, I'm glad I could help. But that. Sakura-san seemed to be a little concerned. Oreki-san asked for information about Kuruzawa-san because I've met her since we were in junior high school, Oreki-san said. So this is your ex-girlfriend, Sakura-san seemed to speculate excitedly. This point is consistent with Kushida-san's rules. Girls seem to be very interested in the topic of love. Oreki. No, after all, we haven't dated yet. But from the foreboding dream, there will be a relationship. Moreover, Kuruzawa's favorability towards him is full. Then it is not good to deny it directly. That's probably it. Oreki thought about it and said. Oh. I will definitely keep this secret. Sakura-san gently clenched her fists, looking very interested. I always feel like I'm getting closer to Oreki-san. As he spoke, he looked at him with bright eyes. Look happy. Oreki. Sakura-san's posture seemed familiar to Oreki. Because after Kushida-san's dark side was discovered, he deliberately showed off his cute appearance. In this way, we have a common secret again. I have to say, the destructive power of girls saying this is really powerful. Oreki-san thought to himself. Because they didn't come to the library to read a book, but Sakura-san borrowed a copy of Madame Bovary, so the two of them prepared to leave. However, when the two of them were going downstairs from the third floor, they suddenly found four adults walking up the stairs from the first floor. If it goes down, then the two sides will meet. And these four people are not strangers, they are the head teachers of the four classes of ABCD. The students took a break and the teachers seemed to be free to move around. But they seemed to be talking as they went upstairs. I didn't expect to see teachers from four classes together. Sakura-san seemed a little surprised. However, Sakura-san was just about to say this when she realized something was wrong. Because she was held by Oreki-san's left hand, and then his right hand covered her lips. Woo dash. He could only make a sound similar to a whimper. But Oreki-san's voice soon reached my ears. SHH dash. Well. So Eri quickly became good. At the same time, I also heard the sounds of conversations coming from the teachers. But only then did she realize her state, because she was being held by Oreki-san. Wow. I always feel that my body temperature rises very quickly. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 192. My heartbeat began to speed up, as if it was beating a drum. However, Oreki-san's attention was focused on the teachers in front of him. Because the students are so lucky. They can rest now. We still have to sort out the information. Tomo Hashinomiya, the homeroom teacher of Class B, took the initiative to stir up the topic. But it's been a long time coming. The four of us can act together so easily. Teacher Mashima from Class A, who is always rational, said, this is fate. Because of going around and around, in the end we all chose the teacher's path. But only the one on the board is the most pitiful. It's because he was defrauded of money and then came back with debts. I hate women. The head teacher of Class C, who was wearing glasses, said digitally on the board. This does reveal a lot of information. The four teachers are actually students of this school, and they are in the same class. Oreki-san thought that he might be able to get more information. For example, there is information about why Itchy Nose was assigned to the rabbit group. Speaking of which, what are you going to do, Chia? At this time, teacher Chibashira from Class D said. Wow, why did you say that suddenly? Did I do something? Hoshino Gong seemed to have been hit. Don't pretend to be cute, Zhiwi, you are violating the rules. Chibashira-sensei seemed to be speaking business-likely. Normally, the school policy should be to concentrate the class representatives in the dragon group, right? So why did you transfer Itchy Nose to the rabbit group? Oreki-san nodded slightly and continued to hug Sakura-san. He felt that eavesdropping was the right thing to do. Because he likes this. Chapter 087. You have a strong sense of justice, go and beat up the bad girl in your class. Ibuki. Because he realized that he heard something he cared about, Oreki-san decided to continue listening while holding Sakura-san in his arms. And the teachers continued to talk. Regarding Hoshinomiya's violation of regulations by placing Itchy Nose in the rabbit team. So what would she answer? Teacher Hoshinomiya said. I'm not kidding, just looking at grades or attitude towards life, Itchy Nose-san is indeed number one in the class, she said. However, the essence that applies to society cannot be measured solely by numerical measurements. In my judgment, I think she still has issues that need to be overcome. You see, the bunny is cute, right? Doesn't the feeling of jumping around look a lot like Itchy Nose-san? However, this seemingly arbitrary reason cannot convince people at all. It would be great if this were the case, Chibashira said expressionlessly. Take a look. Chibashira didn't believe it. Hoshizi Palace's statement is very reasonable, but is there anything you care about? Mr. Majima, who acted as a listener, also spoke. As usual, the dragon team was inserted into the leaders of each class. As for his class A, Banliu was absent, so it looked much thinner at first glance. But this is just a common practice, and it is the teacher's choice to make specific judgments. So there is nothing wrong with Palace of Stars. I just don't want you to make a mistake in judgment because of a personal grudge. Chibashira said in a muffled voice. I hate it. Are you still talking about things that happened 10 years ago? I've long since forgotten that kind of thing. Star Palace seemed to be shocked. Chibashira continued, who knows? You always talk nonsense when you are not in front of me. Every action must be one step ahead of me to be satisfied. That's why you let Itchy Nose join the rabbit team, right? Alright. Oreki-san could sense something about the way Chibashira and Hoshinomiya got along. The way these two people got along gave him a strong sense of déjà vu. The first impression that comes to mind is the way Horikita and Kushida get along. Chibashira is undoubtedly the grown-up Horikita. Hoshinomiya-sensei had a lively atmosphere at the beginning, making people feel like Itchy Nose. The result is now. This guy is Kushida-san when he grows up. Haha. Teacher Hoshinomiya didn't feel embarrassed that his dark side was exposed. Instead, he remained cute and continued. I really just removed Itchy Nose-san from the dragon team because I thought she had something to learn from. Besides, I'm very curious about your behavior, Sae-chan. Because you were the one who broke the rules first, so you removed Kiyotaka Ayanokaji from your class from the rabbit team and replaced him with Akito Miyake. Didn't everyone have their lists of preferential treatment recipients sorted out at the beginning? So, I would like to know why you would do this, Hoshinomiya said. While talking about this, she paid attention to Chibashira. And this rhetoric almost explains why she transferred Itchy Nose from the dragon team to the rabbit team. That is to say, he felt that Chibashira was acting suspiciously, so he sent the top students in his class there to ensure that no matter what Chibashira did, he could control it. But this shows Hoshinomiya's obsession. I want to suppress Chibashira hard. I don't want Chibashira's class to move up. But this rhetoric seems scary, but it seems understandable. Because the class evaluation scores for all 4 classes have been updated after the Kojima exam. While Class A continued to maintain its advantage, Class B also received a 300-point class evaluation score reward. However, Class D's class evaluation scores this time also caught up. Class A 1,801 points. Class B 970 points. Class C 490 points. Class D, 730 points. If the exam does not change this time, Class D will be promoted to Class C after returning to school. Class B is only a short 240-point class evaluation score away. So both students and teachers in Class B feel the pressure. This time, Class D's Juyuan Temple was so top-notch that almost all the teachers were impressed. So it's basically confirmed that Chibashira's Class D has very strong students. It's just that Mr. Majima was standing high. What he saw was that Kojinji might not take action, and that Class D did not have the authority to climb up. If it really climbed up, the school would take action. At most, those absolutely outstanding Class D students will be given a chance to climb up by collecting 20 million. But other teachers don't know. So maybe they felt that Class D had climbed so high this time and felt threatened. Therefore, after discovering that Chibashira had touched the list of recipients, Hashinomi Yachie reacted immediately. Very sharp. Mashima-sensei remained quiet on this point. Oreki-san, who was in the dark, continued to eavesdrop. In other words, the teachers are also practicing the primacy of strength overtly or covertly. But I saw Majima changed his name. Chibashira calmly took out a lady's cigarette, but did not light it. Instead, he said calmly, I saw him change the list of rabbit team, and then I changed it. So the teachers all looked at Mr. Mashima, the class teacher of Class A, who was very rational just now. The digital teacher on the board of Class C immediately looked over. Because Hashinomi Yachie felt that Chibashira violated the rules, and then Chibashira discovered that Majima violated the rules. So he was scolded by Mr. Majima when he took the exam in Kojima before. I think he has crossed the line. Doesn't it turn out to be the same for other teachers? This dash. Teacher Mashima probably didn't expect that the pot would be thrown back to him in the end. But everyone was looking at him, so he said. Generally speaking, the convention is to gather representatives from each class into the Dragon Group. But the students in my class are quite unique. The class representative is usually Katsuragi or Sakayanagi. As for Oreki-san, he's different. I found through observation that both Katsuragi and Sakayanagi treated him very differently in terms of personal training or positive communication. And Sakayanagi didn't come this time, so putting him in the Dragon Group might make him feel unmotivated. Mr. Majima said. What's different means that even if they are placed in the Dragon Group, other class representatives will not be able to show their strength, Hashinomi Yachie interjected. If Sakayanagi doesn't come, can't we encourage Oreki-san to be more motivated? Does it mean that only Sakayanagi-san can let Oreki-san fight? The other classes will only be autistic, right? Then our Class B is really underestimated. Teacher Hashinomi Yachie changed her cute look just now and curled her lips in dissatisfaction. I also have expectations for him, Teacher Mashima said, although this time's preferential candidate exam is similar to previous years. But I think he might be able to make a new development. So he was put in a new group. Oh. However, the head teacher of Class B, who was very serious just now and even felt that he was being looked down upon, now hugged Teacher Chibashira's left hand again, which had not yet lit up the cigarette. Chibashira-chan, your class's preferential treatment exam this time is a bit interesting. The students in my class told me after they came back that all your students are using backup machines. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 193. Because the phone was kept at the beginning, it doesn't matter who the school sent the preferential recipient information. In other words, the students in your class seem to want to protect the huge class evaluation scores they obtained in the small island exam this time. I feel it. I feel their determination to climb up Hashinomi-yachiya became cute again. Is it? However, Chibashira gently pushed Hashinomi-ya away and lit the cigarette. I didn't intervene. And whether they can keep the points or not is their business. This is a bit heartless to say. You know, although some teachers speculate that Jyuan Temple may achieve its goal and will not take action. But the increase in class evaluation scores of Class D is a real thing. Didn't you see that the numbers on the board of Class C on the side were very jealous? Because if Ryuan does nothing this time, then his class will be Class D when he returns to school. Not only will his class rank drop, but his salary will also start to drop next month. I wanted money, so I returned to this school, but was placed in Class C. If I climbed up, I could pay back the money as soon as possible. But if I fell to Class D, my salary would be reduced, making it harder to pay back the money. Hashinomi-yachiya. As expected, Sae-chan, you have changed. I thought you were still targeting Class A, but it doesn't look like that. Hee. But Chibashira smiled and moved on. Is there any point for her to continue going to Class A? From the beginning, the rules did not allow Class D to rush to A, so does it make sense to still want to follow the rules? No. She has already thought about it. After taking care of this batch of students, it may be time for her to leave this training high school. Over the years, she has missed a lot of things because of her obsession. Her life is not over yet. So it should be possible to do something. Looking at Chibashira walking forward first, Hashinomi-yachiya standing behind seemed to stop. What the hell? She said. At first I felt that Chibashira suddenly became autistic, but now I suddenly feel, she seems to be relieved. If I am not obsessed with climbing up the class rankings, then what is the point of me going back to school? If she can be relieved, wouldn't my life be bullshit? With this murmur, Hashinomi-yachiya followed in the direction of Chibashira. Teacher Mashima, who was following behind, felt like Alexander. It seems that no matter how much time passes, Hashinomi-ya is still so perverted towards Chibashira. And from what Hashinomi-ya said, Chibashira may still be immersed in the fait accompli that he was not promoted from Class D to Class A in the past. But these two people are too persistent. But who of the students taught by this school can completely let go? With this thought in mind, he continued to move forward. Then only the teacher on the board was left. Teacher Banban, why don't you follow me? The rational teacher Mashima did not forget that there was another classmate just now, so he called him back. Oh. Because he found that he couldn't get a word in, or that he didn't even know that the other three class teachers were secretly doing something, the teacher on the board became a little numb. Then, the four teachers continued to walk upstairs, but the atmosphere became a little dull. The corridors and stairs of the library are empty again. And Oreki began to integrate the collected information. Well. Woo dash. Or, Oreki-san. Oreki-san noticed a girl's voice next to him. Oh. Feel sorry. Only then did Oreki-san realize that he was still holding Sakura. He covered her lips at first, but then while listening, he felt that this would make it difficult for her to breathe, so he let go of covering her lips. But she was also very good and didn't make any sound after that. But now that I was thinking about Oreki-san, I realized that I was still holding her. So he quickly let her go. Well. Sakura Ari's complexion is very fair, but now it seems to have turned red due to excessive shyness. Very cute. Can you please not tell others what you just heard? Oreki said. Ah, Sakura Eri nodded quickly. In fact, she didn't hear anything just now. To be precise, she was suddenly hugged by a boy and felt her heart beating very loudly. So I was thinking about whether I would be annoyed if my heartbeat was so loud. As a result, what did the four teachers say? It seems that I only heard something about Sakayanagi-san not coming. So now she immediately agreed to Oreki-san's request. Sakura, are you lacking in numbers? Oreki asked again. Don't worry. After this exam, you can get 250,000 points immediately, Oreki-san comforted her. Because he heard meaningful news, Oreki-san was a little interested. So he didn't really want to read, so he borrowed 2 copies of Gone with the Wind and translated them into Gone with the Wind. Gone with the Wind is a literary classic for women. It mainly tells the life experience of the heroine Scarlet, and then her attitude towards different encounters. It shows a strong, stubborn, and tenacious attitude towards life. The reason for borrowing this book is rather unique. He wants to pay attention to girls who are strong and stubborn. Several messages can be gleaned from the teachers' conversations. 1. The teachers are all students in the same period and are classmates. 2. Teacher Hoshinomiya is very obsessed with Chibashira. 3. Chibashira-sensei has been relieved from autism. 4. Hoshinomiya seems to have sacrificed her own future in life to pester Chibashira. If you imagine what Horikita-san and Kushida-san look like now when they grow up, then you can compare Chibashira and Hoshinomiya. In other words, Kushida-san. If we compare her to Hoshinomiya, then it will become more complicated. It shows that she has been working hard to gain the favor of Horikita Suzun and wants to become friends. But this is not dog licking. But, I want to get something more persistent and darker. And becoming friends is just to facilitate her operation. And what can you gain from becoming friends? Friendship only tells some secrets of friends, or, trust. As for trust, if it is not a true friend, then it is used to betray. That is to say, Horikita-san, you are being targeted by someone terrible. And the bait he originally wanted to put out to trick Long Yuan into taking the bait might be able to catch a big fish this time. 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Oreki-san returned to the private room reserved by Hanade. Kamuro-kun and his classmates were still sitting at the door. Continue to work as a gatekeeper. After all, it was Horikita Suzun who was in the private room, and at the same time, Horikita Suzun was sitting in the work of deducing the rules of the treater. In other words, the derivation is deductive, but the information she is using also contains information about the real preferential treatment recipients. In addition to Class D, there are also preferential recipients from Class A. If something goes wrong, she will also be held accountable. She didn't want to take the blame. So I decided to finish the job honestly. You can take a rest. Oreki looked at the pile of scrap manuscripts placed next to the table. It seems that after he went to the library, and then returned to his room to take a nap, Horikita-san had actually been working. But it's a pity. Judging from the frown on her face, it seemed that she hadn't gotten the rules yet. Wait a minute, Horikita Suzun said. No need to wait any longer, Oreki said. The results will be available in a while. Horikita Suzun looked over in confusion. And Oreki-san looked at Kamuro-san. Kamuro was stunned for a moment, then reacted. So he said with a straight face. Sakayanagi Arisu in my class did not take the exam this time due to health reasons. However, she will contact me at 6 o'clock every afternoon. And I already sent her the preferential treatment information this morning. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu. Chapter 194. So she should have received the message by now, Kamuro said. Oh. Horikita understood. This is Oreki-san's alternative. Sakayanagi Arisu also accepted the task of deducing the law of preferential treatment, but it took night to deduce it. And time is money. So Oreki also asked her to spend the whole afternoon doing derivation. It's a pity, Horikita-san said. If it's a question, then she will be better at it. Susan, Oreki said suddenly. Ha! Horikita Susan looked at him strangely. Because this is the first time someone outside of the family calls him by his name. Everyone has things they are good at and things they are not good at, Oreki-san said, and it is very important to be able to evaluate yourself correctly. What's the meaning? Horikita Susan wrinkled her pretty brows. Maybe you didn't realize that you don't know the speed, Oreki said. Don't you know, the degree? Yes. You are good at studying. You have never failed an exam and you study for 10 hours every day. But have you ever considered the limits of what your body can handle? Why did you feel unwell the past few days? You haven't assessed the limits of your body, Oreki-san said. So. Horikita-san seems to have come to his senses. So you ask me to deduce the law on purpose. Do you think I can't do it? Absolutely, Oreki said. If I were talking to you normally, you would definitely reject it or not take it seriously. But if you taste failure, you might be able to listen, Oreki said. But you never read, Horikita Susan said. Why did you do so well in the exam? That's me taking full advantage of my efficiency. I studied with the thought that I wouldn't have to review it again, Oreki said. No, I don't understand what you are saying at all. In other words, you can't learn from experience at all. You are almost saying that you are a genius, Horikita Susan shook his head. I didn't say that. But isn't that what you mean? Horikita Susan seemed to be a little autistic. I don't have much talent. It's not a good idea to completely deny yourself, Oreki said. The divine room. The divine room. Kamuro-san is sitting on the side. She was just guarding the door, but now, she feels weird. Oreki-san sometimes hangs out with Horikita Susan from Class D, but Sakayanagi Yuzu also said not to worry about this. She also noticed that Horikita Susan probably didn't have many friends here. Then it seems that Oreki made him a tool of Class D. But now it always feels like a couple quarreling. Wait a minute. At this time, Kamuro stood up with his mobile phone. Sakayanagi Yuzu replied to me. It is said that the pattern has been deduced, and she sent the names of the preferential recipients of Class B and Class C, Maesumi Kamuro said. Horikita. Genius does exist. Sister Horikita seemed a little frustrated. Genius is possible, Oreki said. She is the opponent I said before that you need to defeat if you want to climb up to Class A. I once wanted to throw Class A to her. But Horikita Suzuan, Oreki-san said, I don't want to see you being autistic like this. You studied too much before. You need to have an understanding of your body's planning. It's important to be more efficient. I suggest you shorten your study time, but increase your efficiency. Otherwise, it would be terrible to be sick all the time, Oreki-san said. Horikita. If it can improve efficiency, then she wants it too. It's not like she wants to study for 10 hours every day. But both my brother and Oreki-san are too outstanding. This is. Just as Horikita Susan was about to speak, she found Oreki placing a book in front of her. Flow. Time Management Master, Lyubashev. Just read these 2 books today, Oreki-san said. This is the book I read when I was a child and thought about how to deal with troublesome things and how to reduce the time spent studying. You might get something out of it. Oh. Horikita Susan frowned and put down the 2 books. These 2 books are very famous. One of the books on flow is about how to enter a state of concentration and concentration. And the other one is that the efficiency has skyrocketed, and the day has become 48 hours. The God-level life of the originator of time management will refresh your understanding of efficiency. Generally speaking, these 2 books were specially found by Oreki Houtarou and brought back to Horikita Suzuan. The divine room. Kamuro-kun, who was on the side, always found it strange. I always feel that the relationship between these two people is very strange, and there is a strong feeling of seeing a married couple quarrel but reconcile. Moreover, Horikita Suzun's academic ability is not bad, so Oreki will care about her, but here she is not paying attention because she has recently reached a bottleneck in her studies. So, is it possible that Oreki likes Suzun Horikita instead of Sakayanagi Yuzu? No, no, no. It was completely unimaginable that a person with the personality of Horikita Suzun would fall in love. Kamuro-san shook his head quickly. After Horikita was busy all afternoon, all the information of the preferential recipients who had no income was processed. Oreki took Kamuro and Horikita Suzun out. Kamuro-san lent Oreki his cell phone. To be precise, Sakayanagi Yuzu sent the deduced information about the preferential recipients of classes B and C on her mobile phone. As for Oreki-san's statement, now that the information about the preferential recipients from other classes has been obtained, then, it can be used as a weapon. However, you can check it now. So the three of them went to find the location of Jyuan Temple. To be precise, according to Kamuro, she and Takahiraji were both members of the monkey team, and during the discussion in the morning, Takahiraji was talking about something. This kind of exam was so boring that they actually had to gather twice a day. I don't want to be with mortals. It's really wasting his time or something. In other words, as a genius, Takahiraji-san already knew the status of the monkey group's favored recipients. And there is a pattern to the preferential treatment. So what Oreki-san has now is the identity of the preferential recipient that Sakayanagi-san found through rules. But is the derivation correct? You can find someone to verify it first. So, Jyuanji's classmate K-Ping, who didn't want to waste time being immortal, was chosen. And the other side. After taking a nap in the afternoon, here in the evening, Long Yuan reunited his small team. But this time it was different from before, and Ibuki was called over. But the purpose of calling Ibuki over was not to discuss it, but to ask her to describe her situation with Houtarou Oreki in the rabbit team. Oreki Houtarou, his behavior is relatively ordinary, Ibuki said. As a student of Class A, others like Machida seem to be more assertive. And Oreki Houtarou directly proposed that he wanted to go to Result 1. In other words, Oreki not only said this to him, but also to Ichinos in the Usagi team. But in Result 1, how much money can Oreki Houtarou get? Even if he is a student of Class A who can drive the rabbit group, there are only 3 of them including himself. Not to mention, other classes need to cooperate with him. With this thought, Ibuki was let go. Ryuan continued to discuss with the think tank team. Why did you let Ibuki leave first? Shiina-san was a little curious. Ibuki is relatively simple, Ryuan said. She was picked up by a student from Class A before, but was directly given to Ichinos by Houtarou Oreki. During this process, Ibuki didn't struggle or think about how to deal with it. So she is not suitable for contact with these things that require brain use, Ryuan said. Oh. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 195. In fact, Hiri felt that Ryuan felt that Ibuki was naive, and then he learned the rules from them. Then, because Ibuki was in the rabbit group again, the discussion had to continue according to the exam rules. So I will meet Oreki Houtarou. Then it is very likely that Ryuan will be tricked out of his thoughts. Indeed. Ibuki-san is indeed such a stubborn person. Wait a moment. I seem to understand. Shiina-hiri said suddenly. I seem to understand why Oreki Houtarou is obsessed with Result 1. Result 1 can get a huge amount of points from the school. Yes, a student in the group can get 500,000, while the entire group can get 7-8 million. What if he could wrap up all the team's points? In other words, what if all 12 groups get the result of 1? The whole team. Canada listened. Then he couldn't help but push up his glasses twice. Because he felt that Hiyori's idea was too exaggerated. Because all students leave, the result is 1. Will the school really give 80-90 million? And, for example, Ryuan from Class C wants points. But Ichino's Class B would definitely not agree. After all, class evaluation scores are also very important. Class B will be surpassed by Class D. And this requires all the students in the grade to cooperate with him. Is it possible to complete this level of difficulty? Just because he's in the rabbit group, someone might betray him. Long Yuan shook his head. So how did he get everyone to listen? So Hiyori said. What if there's a pattern to the preferential treatment? One word stirred up 1,000 waves? Yes. What if the selection of preferential recipients was regular? If it's a reward, you can still refuse it. But, if the weakness of his class is caught, then there is nothing we can do. Because, if he objects, the favored person in his class will be exposed and his points will be deducted. Who can bear it? Then doesn't it mean that, you can hold the information of the preferential recipients in other classes and take the test as you want? Hummed. I think I understand. Long Yuan finally reacted. Oreki Houtarou must know the information about the preferential recipients in his class, and then all the students in Class D have to switch their mobile phones to backup phones. Those guys were clearly deceived by Oreki Houtarou. When Horikita Suzun confiscated the mobile phone, she must have also learned the information about the preferential recipients of Class D. And thinking about it? Beep. Teacher Mashima's voice suddenly appeared on the ship. The monkey group's exam is over. Students in the monkey group did not have to take the test again. Please act on your own but do not disrupt other students' exams. The test for preferential candidates can be rushed. Dragon Garden. Everyone looked over. Members of the think tank also know information about the favored recipients in their classes. The preferential treatment person of the monkey group is in their C class. That is to say, if the person who rushes to answer the question answers correctly, then their class C will be deducted another 50 points. If the person who rushes to answer the question answers incorrectly, their class C will receive add 50 points. And the result? Oreki-san is currently in the gym at Kojinji Temple. Watch the information about the preferential recipients of the monkey group given by Juyuanji Temple. And this name is consistent with the information about the preferential recipients of the monkey group of Class C sent by Itaiji Arasu. All. Kitagawa Ryo. After obtaining the information, Oreki-san transferred the information about monkey team Kitagawa Ryo to Ryuan Sho. Recommended book by a great guy. Introduction. Baiyu traveled to the world of Chainsaw Man, gained double divine power at the beginning, and met the bomb weapon man Lisei. In this world where demons are rampant, Baiyu uses his divine power to kill demons. Chapter 088. Congratulations, unexpectedly mentioned 3 spies from Class C, now they belong to Class A and are operating normally. Oreki-san and the others first went to the safe, and then successfully retrieved Kojinji Rokusuke's mobile phone. Gao Yuanji himself is the only son of a big family. He has talent, and with the support of family resources, he has done a lot of training. So identifying people is the first lesson, so a preferential treatment test is equivalent to finding an undercover agent. So it was, too boring and too simple for him. So, according to Oreki-san's inference, Takahiraji is very smart, and he probably guessed that the preferential recipient of the monkey group is in Class C after passing the first discussion. And the identity of the preferential recipient was also confirmed. However, Kojinji held a backup phone like ordinary students, and even the backup phone required adding each other as friends to locate it. And here he only added Sakura-san and Kushida-san's backup friends. So I spent a little time looking for Kojinji Rokusuke. However, It is also relatively common in places where Jyuan Temple is located. Takahiraji is a very confident and narcissistic person. So if you are not looking in the mirror now, then there is a high probability that you are exercising and adjusting your body to the limit. For exercise, there is a comprehensive gymnasium on the basement floor of the ship. So Oreki and the others quickly found him at the gym. There are only waiters and Kojinji. No other students came. This is for sure, because no girls will come here, so other ordinary boys will be even less willing to come. We are obviously here to enjoy it, so who is going to sweat it? And it's still during the exam period. In other words, let me finish the exam. Takahiraji quickly understood the purpose of Oreki and Horikita-san's visit. Indeed. This exam is very boring. It has to be discussed for 3 consecutive days. It is indeed a waste of time. I also want to go to a spa tonight. It's true that I don't have time to take the exam. And there's no point in even going to the discussion, it's so childish. He said. He doesn't really talk to ordinary classmates, but Oreki-san and Horikita-san are different. Although he basically took the lead in the previous Kojima exam, it is undeniable that he actually acted as Oreki Houtarou's tool. And it's the kind that can't be refused. Now that Kojima's exam is over, his 20 million plan is guaranteed. So it's not as urgent as before. I can already live my own casual life. So of course I have no interest in this kind of exam in school. Just make sure you don't get kicked out of school, and then when you're about to graduate in the 3rd grade, use 20 million points to go to Class A and finish. No matter which Class A is at that time, as long as he graduates from Class A, it will not be a shame for the Kojinji Zaibatsu and the school. That's it. As the heir of the Chable, he does not deny that the school can also cultivate good talents, such as students like the student council president Horikita Manabu. He may be able to recruit him in the future. But now he wants to see if he can try to recruit Oreki Houtarou. He is the heir to a Chable, but the Chable is so big that relying on himself alone is not enough, so he is considering whether to use others. It's just that Oreki seems to be interested in money and is very good at making money. So ordinary money cannot impress the other party. And if you use beautiful girls to impress him. Today Oreki is also bringing Horikita Suzune, and then there are the girls from Class A. Not bad looking. Oreki-san never seems to show up alone. So Oreki-san has no shortage of beautiful girls. Then it's the same as before. Takahiraji finally said to Horikita Suzune. Because Horikita is a student of Class D, you are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 196. I have to take half of the 50 points I got, Jyuanji said. I will respond to Hirata, Horikita-san said calmly. But take a look at the email you sent. No problem, Gao Yuanji nodded. Oreki-san then confirmed the information about Class C, the preferential recipient of the monkey group. The school's broadcast also responded less than 1 minute after Jyuanji sent the text message. Then Mashima-sensei's broadcast prompt appeared. The exam for the monkey group has ended. According to the rules of the exam, you can choose to answer within the deadline or rush the answer. No points will be deducted for answering within the deadline, but the class evaluation score will change based on the status of the quick answer. Guessing correctly can add 50 points to the class evaluation score. And if it's wrong, then Class D will deduct points themselves. But Jyuanji is very confident. Now I continue to do push UPS. Then you are great. Oreki-san then sent the information about the preferential recipients of Class C of the monkey group to Ryuan. It's almost like telling Ryuan that he has mastered the rules of preferential treatment. Well, Ryuan, Now that you have lost 50 points in the class evaluation, you have no choice but to deduce the law of preferential treatment. And after having no choice, it's the meat on the chopping board. Speaking of which, you haven't looked very good since you came out, Oreki-san said. Because he noticed that Horikita-san had a straight face. In fact, she usually has this expression. Similar to Kamuro-san, he was almost not prepared to show any more emotions on his face. But because he spent a lot of time with her, Oreki-san can tell her apart. I'm thinking about the rules of those who are favored. Horikita Susan raised her left hand to the elbow of her right hand, and the fingers of her right hand dragged her chin. I spent an afternoon thinking about it. But no pattern was found. In the end, Sakayanagi won't receive your message until 6 in the afternoon. But in less than 15 minutes. She seemed a little frustrated. She guessed it. It's because she's excellent that I thought about pushing Class A to her, Oreki-san said. Horikita. So. Horikita Susan looked over and said, if it were you who were in charge of deducing the rules of preferential treatment, then the time needed is dash. Horikita-san was a little curious. When she was almost kicked out of school by her brother, his brother spoke highly of Oreki-san. What my brother gave was an evaluation of human extreme physical exercise. But after getting in touch, you will also find that his academic ability is very high. Especially getting perfect marks just by reading the book. But it made her remember it for a long time. Therefore, she does not think that Oreki-san cannot deduce the law of preferential treatment. But what I believe in is not to do things that don't need to be done, and to do things that must be done in a simple way. It is also the most energy-saving, Oreki-san said. If someone can deduce it, why should I spend this time? So just assign tasks. Although there is some frustration, but now that I have mastered the rules of preferential treatment, it means that almost all classes are on the chopping block. Cooperation is possible. But if you take away their points, they will be resented. But what if they have no choice? Because the recipient's information has been guessed by the other party, if he disagrees, not only will he not get a penny, but his class evaluation points will also be deducted. So I had to obey. Then, all we have to do is wait for the showdown with the representatives of each class, and then everyone can play with the school's 80 million wool. However, now it is better to let the most difficult Ryuan struggle first. Then, considering that every dinner is a meal, Horikita-san finally got around to being humane and learned to take the initiative to invite Oreki-san to have dinner with her. So the two of them walked to the hotel. But 50 centimeters away, someone was following them. In other words, the two people in front seemed not to notice that she was still following. The divine room. Kamuro-san found himself being used as a background again. But that's okay, she's used to it. Anyway, when Oreki Houtarou and Sakayanagi Yuzu had dinner together, he basically paid no attention to her. Oh no. I will still pay attention to her and whether she has finished all the meals. It's 8:30. There is still a short period of time before the discussion at 9 o'clock. Oreki-san originally returned to the cabin to take a shower before participating in the rabbit group's discussion. But thinking that something might happen at night, he decided not to take a shower yet. As a result, I came early. It's just that there are some surprises. Because he was not the only one who arrived early. He saw that Ibuki had also arrived. But Ibuki probably brought a book to read. What she watched this morning was Gone with the Wind. That is, Gone with the Wind, which Oreki also borrowed. But Ibuki didn't seem to be reading for the sake of reading. Because she changed books. It was replaced by The Count of Monte Cristo, and then there was a copy of Elio Futabo put aside. Bah, it's quantum mechanics. And something unusual was happening at the corner of the stairs in room 204. Oreki-san paid attention. It seems that several girls have gathered together, and if you look carefully, They are all members of the rabbit group. 3 girls from Class C and 1 girl from Class D. Among them is a girl from Class D, and the only girl from Class D in the rabbit team, Megami Kuruzawa. As for the 3 girls from Class C, Oreki has written down their names. One is Manabe Shiho, who sent a photo after contacting them today, and the other is named Yabuna Nami. Another one is Saki Yamashita. And Nami Yabuna and Saki Yamashita are both in the photos of friends that Manabe sent today. After getting closer, the first thing I picked up was the voice of a girl with shorter and fluffy hair. This is Manabe Shiho. Maybe I remembered it wrong. Did you have a conflict with Pear Blossom last week? Huh? What is that? I don't know, Rika. And this voice was very familiar. It's Kuruzawa-san. It seems that Kuruzawa-san also came to the rabbit group in advance. But he was called out by a girl from Class C. Rika is the girl in our class who wears glasses and has a round head, Manabe explained. There was also Rika in the photo that Manabe-san sent him today. And Liwa is indeed a bald head wearing glasses. But Oreki also sounded serious. He was interested in the word meatball head. Because he describes his friend as a meatball, this Manabe classmate is probably the kind of person with a very straight personality and not much emotional intelligence. Huh? I don't know such a person, Kuruzawa said. Isn't this strange? We did listen to what she said. She said that she was bullied by a girl named Kuruzawa from Class D. She said she was queuing up at the coffee shop and you cut in line and knocked her away. Manabe did not give up. If this is true, I hope you will apologize. Rika is the kind of person who will bear everything by herself. We must do something for her. Manabe seems to be a good person. He stood up for his friends, even though he called them meatballs, but he was still a decent person. Kuruzawa-san, on the other hand, seemed to have stopped talking. In other words, he was determined to ignore it, but when Manabe saw the situation, he seemed to be very anxious, so he turned his cell phone camera towards Kuruzawa. It looked like he was about to take a photo. Don't shoot me, Kuruzawa noticed Manabe's actions. The person you are looking for is not me. Can I confirm with Rika? Is that okay? If it wasn't you, it would be fine, right? Manabe didn't give up. To be honest, Class C's actions were appropriate. After all, she asked Kuruzawa for confirmation at the beginning, but Kuruzawa ignored her, and then she chose this approach. But at this time, Kuruzawa suddenly raised his face and shook off the mobile phone held by Manabe with his hand. Snapped. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 197. Kuruzawa's strength is stronger than imagined. Manabe's cell phone was knocked away, fell to the ground, rolled several times, and then slipped out. What are you doing? Manabe was startled and quickly went to pick up the phone. This is what I want to say. Kuruzawa looked quite cold. Don't take pictures of me without permission. I told you it wasn't me. It must be someone else. What if the phone breaks? What should I do? I just need to tell the school and get another one, Kuruzawa replied. Well, Oreki-san is watching this. There are very important photos inside. Manabe looked a little pitiful. But after she picked up the phone, she immediately stared at Kuruzawa with eyes filled with hatred. The other 2 girls in Class C watched from beginning to end. They had already taken action, as if to assist Manabe, approaching Kuruzawa from 2 directions. Oreki took back his words that he felt sorry for Manabe. Because if you really look pitiful, you won't be so fierce right away. People in Class C are actually quite competitive. As expected of Ryuan's class. Kuruzawa had noticed that Manabe and the others seemed to be trying to surround her, and her cold expression finally changed. It was obviously the guy who bumped into me, and I am the victim, Kuruzawa said as if he was not convinced. It's really irritating. What about your disdain just now? Admit it now, Manabe said. Originally, I said that if you sincerely apologize to Rika, then I can forgive you, but now, I don't want to forgive you. Anyway, you didn't want to forgive in the first place, but Kurosawa mocked them. Manabe's anger was instantly ignited. At this time, Kurosawa held the phone. Oh. Do you want to contact someone? Then please contact me. Aren't you very cute? I saw you sitting directly next to Oreki-san in the morning. You actually moved the chair. Who do you think you are? I've long been unhappy with you, but it's a pity that Oreki-san contacted me in the afternoon. Manabe said. Kurosawa. Or. She has worked hard to show her strong side. As a result, it seems to be useless. After Oreki knocked Manabe's cell phone away from Kurosawa, he left around the corner. He returned to room 204. Now only Ibuki is inside. So he just walked towards Ibuki. Ibuki-san, why don't you go and see the classmates in your class? Ibuki Mio was sitting in the corner of the room. She was reading a book called Quantum Mechanics. I just don't know if she can understand it. Because she frowned and seemed to read the words on the page at a constant speed. And after listening to Oreki's words, Ibuki raised his head. Let me go see them. Ibuki was surprised. She actually doesn't have much favorable impression of Oreki. Because on the island, she used a bitter trick to sneak into Class A, but he threw her directly to Ichino's from Class B. Isn't this nonsense? Oreki said. The girls in your class got into trouble and surrounded Kurosawa from Class D as a boy. I couldn't stop it, but you don't have a sense of justice. Is it strong? I have a strong sense of justice. Ibuki Mio almost stood up in surprise. Because what she wanted to do before was to sneak into Class A, and she had already become a spy in Class B and betrayed Class B who took her in. But Oreki Houtarou in front of him said that she had a strong sense of justice? Ibuki thought he heard a joke. Or be ridiculed. Isn't this nonsense? Oreki said sincerely. You fought with Ryuan to resist Ryuan's violence. Isn't this because you have a strong sense of justice? And then you were kicked out by him. Ibuki. Ibuki. Ibuki Mio felt that she had really met a genius. How innocent is the Oreki Houtarou in front of him? Could it be that he didn't throw her to Ichino's from Class B because he found out that she was a spy, but really just thought that Ichino's was more suitable to take her in? Indeed. Later, she also saw the tent belonging to Class C that Ichino's and the others picked up in the camp of Class B. It seems reasonable to take in students from Class C after taking things from Class C. When they returned to the ship, Ishizaki also came to her and asked her about Oreki. When Ishizaki was in school, he opposed Ryuan and wanted to make money, so he joined Houtarou Oreki's store opening plan. She still knew this. It was said on the forum. It seems that to open a store, you need to pay 5 million to the second-year senior Nanyun for the permission to open a store. Because it's very expensive, I decided to just send it in this plan. However, Ryuan said that Oreki was a liar and cheated them of points, so he terminated the contract with Oreki in advance on behalf of Class C. But Ishizaki also felt that Ryuan might have made a mistake in his prediction, because Oreki is still maintaining an agreement with the 15 students from Class B who opened a store and borrowed money, and will have to pay a high interest rate of 15% to Class B students next month. So, Ibuki also couldn't figure out who Oreki Houtarou was. But she remembers. When I was making arrangements before taking the Kojima exam and pretending to be at odds with Ryuan. Ryuan provided guidance. He said that people must be able to act. And if you often act, then at some point you will get enough compensation for the image you perform. So since Oreki Houtarou, who Ryuan is afraid of, thinks that she is a person with a strong sense of justice, she will first continue this image of a strong sense of justice. Maybe we can use this image to do something for promotion to Class A in the future. So she put the book down. Walk out of the room. Hey, I'm talking about you. Seeing Manabe and the others surrounding Kuruzawa, Ibuki immediately understood what was happening, and she walked up directly. Ibuki. Manabe and the others discovered Ibuki, but they didn't like him because Ibuki was relatively withdrawn and a strong fighter. It was said that his family came from a martial arts family, and he was also a big fan of Ryuan who liked to squeeze their living expenses. So they kind of ostracized her. Snapped. However, Ibuki went up and slapped her. Don't embarrass Class C. Ibuki said. Manabe subconsciously covered her cheek, she looked confused. Even the two companions were stunned. Because you, Ibuki, are not here to cheer her up, but to beat her? Ibuki, are you crazy? Manabe was almost knocked unconscious. And her two friends also reacted with shocked expressions. Ibuki, what are you doing? We didn't mess with you. Saying this, one of Manabe's friends stood back a little. Probably because he was worried about getting hit. Are you stupid, Dan? Ibuki said. Long Yuan didn't let you bully people from other classes. Huh? Bullying, and now she just knocked off my phone. Manabe felt incredible. Shut up, no matter who sees this scene, it is you who are bullying others, Ibuki said. And there are cameras here. Ibuki pointed to a corner above the corridor. There is indeed a camera placed there. For it. Manabe and the others looked at each other, but this Kuruzawa bullied Rika. Rika. Ibuki seemed to hesitate for a moment. So do you have any evidence? It's during the exam now. If the exam is affected because of you, points may be deducted again. I don't think Long Yuan will let you go. Probably because they were afraid of Ryuan. Manabe and the others looked at each other. You're lucky. Then he said words like a defeated dog and glared at Kuruzawa. Then, probably because he was shocked by Ibuki, he did not continue to room 204 of the rabbit team. Instead, prepare to go somewhere else to kill some time. And Ibuki returned to the room. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 198. Thank you very much, Oreki-san said and walked out of the room. He knew that Kuruzawa did not go into the room. So I followed her. She walked toward the basement alone. But he didn't go very far, he just came to a deserted corner. Sure enough, nothing has changed for me, Kuruzawa seemed to sigh. Then take out your phone. There are not many address book numbers on the phone, probably just some hot girls from Class D. And she is their leader. So naturally there will be their numbers. There was also Kushida-san. She didn't get along well with the boys in her class, but she only had one boy's number on her phone. Houtarou. She glanced at the number several times. Then a man squatted down and put his face on his knees, holding a mobile phone in one hand. As expected, I can't do anything dash. Her mood was low. But if you want to see me, you can do it now, Oreki-san said. Wow. However, Kuruzawa seemed to be shocked. The phone in his hand was thrown out. Oreki grabbed the phone she threw out one step ahead of her. The phone clicked and he held it. Then gave it back to her. Well, thank you, Houtarou, Megumi said quickly. Thank you for everything today. I even went out of my way to invite Ibuki and so on. Why do you say that? Oreki said. Because I know that I'm not lovable, so how could anyone come to save me? And Ibuki doesn't look like he will suddenly take care of things, Kuruzawa said. In other words, after passing here, I thought he was helping me. I didn't do well with Sakura before, and now I can't handle things with the girls in Class C. She felt a little depressed. So, what's the real thing? Oreki-san squatted down with her. Well. Before leaving school for the Kojima exam, Sato and the others went to a milk tea shop together. I was waiting in line because Sato went to the toilet. However, some of them left the team beforehand. When they came back later, their positions were taken by girls from Class C. I originally wanted to queue up again, but Sato and the others came back. So. Oh. So it's pretty much what he thought. In other words, you need to show a strong image in front of your friends. The same goes for Sakura-san. Megami is not alone, but in front of friends, so she can only behave as her friends think she would do. Really? Although people wear protective clothing, it also brings trouble. It's like telling a lie and then telling countless lies to cover it up. Kurosawa created a strong image. At the same time, constant attention is required to maintain this image. If something happens, Oreki-san thought about it. He surmised from the way Kurosawa deliberately kept a distance from him when she was in the rabbit team that she wanted to solve some things on her own. But her solution is basically to be deliberately mean. Performance is strong. It is indeed a plan to scare away or push away ordinary people. If you are so cruel, then I have to think about it again if I want to cause trouble for you. This solution is possible. But at most, weak girls like Baibo from Class B can be avoided. After all, the students in this school are abnormal, they are specially selected by the school. Not that ordinary. So these solutions don't work. I will continue to protect you, Oreki-san said. But don't have any psychological burden. Because. Same, Oreki-san said. I'll also let you help with some stuff. So it's a win-win. In other words, Kurosawa didn't want to trouble him before. That's why I took action to protect myself. But such a move brings possible ongoing troubles. In this way, he might as well catch it now. Some possible problems have been dealt with. And under the current situation, as long as he is not expelled from school, Gao Yuanji only has the duty of protecting the points he has received. But to Oreki-san, all first-year students are like ATM machines for extracting points. So Class D also needs to make some arrangements. But, although Ibuki was brought in to suppress Manabe and the others, as long as the matter is not completely resolved, there will still be problems when Manabe and the others confront Megami. So, let's settle things here first. 9 p.m. Oreki-san also came to room 204 again. But, Oreki-kun, you came late today. Little angel Ichi-nose has arrived. She found out that Oreki-san was late. Oh, books. Ichi-nose noticed that Oreki-san had brought books. I still insist on the plan that will eventually lead to outcome 1, Oreki-san said, so I will not participate in other discussions. Oh. Ichi-nose nodded slightly. But there was a slight hesitation on her face. Well, about today's monkey group's exam. Ichi-nose found it incredible. Because at about 6:30, the monkey group ended the exam. It made them all a little confused. Although luckily, there is no favored person in their class in the monkey group. But I went to the teacher and learned that they would not tell who sent the email to end the exam early, nor would they announce the information about the recipients of the monkey group's preferential treatment. It's just that this kind of behavior makes people a little uneasy. For Class B, it was a direct loss of an opportunity to guess the favored recipients of other classes. This is Kojinji-san from Class D who terminated the exam early, Oreki-san said. Oh. Yuanji. It can be said. When Ichi-nose read out the name, the two Class B students behind her also looked dignified. It seems that Yuan Temple occupied 34 strongholds on the island and then raided their strongholds at 2 o'clock in the middle of the night, forcing them to move overnight. So there's already a shadow. Then, maybe everyone is in a bad mood. Class B thinks Yuan Temple is poisonous. Class A maintains the principle of no discussion. As for Class C, because Ibuki threatened Manabe and the others, they moved their seats further away from Ibuki. As for Class D, they still don't know that Yuanji's exam ended early, so they simply think that if they don't discuss it, then it's not a bad idea to play with their mobile phones. In this way, the second discussion of the rabbit group is over. The 1-hour discussion is over. But Oreki didn't go back to the dormitory or do anything else right away. He is waiting for someone. He invited Horikita Suzun to come over. What he wanted to do was very simple. Kuruzawa still had Manabe and the others' matters to resolve. Although Ibuki suppressed it, everyone was in the same school. So we will meet again many times. So it needs to be dealt with. And it's not like Manabe and the others can't use it. People like Manabe bullied the weak and feared the strong, and even Ibuki didn't dare to resist, so they were easy to control. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 199. Just right enough to be placed in Class C as a spy. And he was on the deck now, and after just a moment, Horikita-san came running over. Horikita-san has straight black hair and beautiful fox eyes. So the running look is also very beautiful. Certainly. She didn't make this trip in vain. What? Horikita came over after the group discussion was over, and he said he had urgent matters. Could it be that something went wrong with the plan this time? The 40 million plan is sound, Oreki said. Then what is this urgent matter? Horikita Suzun was puzzled. No, I want you to show your violence, Oreki said. Violence? Horikita thought he was strange. I just learned karate, it's not violence. Just karate is enough, Oreki said. Next, I will date 3 girls from Class C, and then you can try your best to defeat them without getting hurt, or show your strength. It's just that if you use violence, Horikita felt that this was against school rules. Violent. This is so that nails can be planted in Class C, Oreki said. Ryuan let go of Class C's contact with other classes before, probably because he wanted to clean his own class first to see if there would be any spies. But this time the preferential treatment test is very important, the information cannot be leaked. The spy planted by my class has been discovered by Ryuan. So, Long Yuan has now eliminated spies once. Then there won't be another spies purge so soon. And we can use this time to bury some spies, Oreki-san said. And these words are a bit difficult to pronounce. But the translated meaning is that now is the time to bury spies in Class C. Looking at Horikita-san's appearance, Oreki-san continued. You have to know what our goal is. After this exam, all the classes will become extremely rich. In other words, they will all be fattened up. So if there is an insider, it will be easy for us to prey on them. Is it? You are really just as bad, Horikita said. But she was undoubtedly tempted. Because this is an 80-90 million plan. And Oreki-san takes half of the profits, so that's a 40 million plan. Although now the monkey group has been used for verification. So you have to lose 7-8 million points. But even if one more group is abandoned, nearly 40 million will be accounted for in the end. And she gets 10%. So she can receive about 4 million in compensation. And this is just one wave of harvest. There is a second wave. Because another 40 million remained in the hands of students. And don't you want these points? Want. Because with another 4 million, Seuswian will be able to collect 10 million, which is very close to the plan to collect 20 million. Plus the class evaluation score totals 50 points. Progress continues to skyrocket. So why should she not be tempted? Basically impossible. Okay, Horikita-san quickly agreed to his request. Is it just about beating them into submission? No, Oreki-san said with emotion. I hope you can take their photos. Taking pictures, Horikita-san didn't seem to understand. Probably asking them to take off their clothes and then take pictures. The students in Class C can't be trusted too much. So they have to keep their trump cards in hand. Horikita. What books have you been reading recently? Why do you suddenly have such thoughts? Oreki. Ichi knows recommended some books. Book. Didn't understand the word. But Horikita-san also knows that no one wants their photos to be posted everywhere. So if someone takes a picture, you basically have to be obedient. Chapter 089 Kushida-san, you don't want everyone to know that you betrayed Class D. No one wants to have their photos posted randomly. At the same time, Horikita also knew that this might not be as simple as breaking school rules. It might even be illegal. And this kind of thing. I can't give you the photo, Horikita added. I don't need these. Oreki-san showed a speechless expression. And you just need to take the photo in front of them and delete it later, Oreki said. We're not really doing bad things. Horikita. Well, this is fine. Only then did Susan feel it was acceptable. After all, she is the younger sister of that Horikita brother, and she is more used to doing things in a dignified manner. In this way, Oreki-san started calling Manabe in front of her without any scruples. He also said on the phone that he actually arrived in room 204 very early today. It seems that there is a gap between them and Kuruzawa. He doesn't like Kuruzawa either. But I will help invite Kuruzawa out. Then Manabe and the others thought about how Kuruzawa clearly sat next to Oreki-san and then moved the chair away. It seems that Oreki-san was also hurt at that time. So I agreed immediately. In this way, Oreki-san and Horikita began to wait for their arrival. But, speaking of which, is the deterrent effect of photos that strong? Horikita-san seemed to not know the value of taking photos later. Because Oreki-san also said that he would delete the photos. So in the end they just used this name to threaten. Therefore, if the girls in Class C are disobedient, there is nothing that can be done to them. But, let me ask you, what would you do if someone put a photo of you that cannot be seen on the forum? Oreki-san said. It will blow the opponent's head off. Horikita-san is very powerful. But, can you really do it? Oreki-san continued, if the photo is seen by your brother. Then I will probably kneel down and beg the other party not to publish the photos. Horikita-san quickly changed his tune. So this is very cowardly. In short, under Ryuuin's violent rule, it's okay to bury a nail. Because you can't know where Ryuuin's bottom line is, Oreki-san said. Ryuuin laid out the plans for the small island exams, and then sent spies to each class. So Ryuuin has always been on the verge of blackness, so it's hard to say what he will do next time, Oreki-san said. For it. This is true. As for Class D, they also infiltrated Ishizaki land. Although Gao Yuanji directly accepted him as a tool, Class B actually knew the information about the class leader. In this way, this point really impressed Horikita. Then, 10 minutes later, Manabe Shiho, Yabuna Nami, and Yamashita Saki went to the basement together. Considering that they wanted to see Kuruzawa, they called Rika too. Then when the four of them arrived at the scene, what they saw was not Kuruzawa-san, but Horikita Suzune. Among them, Manabe has short hair, and Rika, as Manabe described before, does have a round head wearing glasses. However, Liwa's character doesn't seem to be that aggressive. By the way, Manabe, will Kuruzawa really apologize to me? Thinking about it carefully, she seems to be in line in front of me. Liwa said. Why didn't you say this earlier? But forget it, you didn't see Kuruzawa's arrogance, how could you just let it go? Manabe shook his head. She got rid of my phone. So now that there is an opportunity for her to be alone, don't miss it, Manabe said. They are all students in Class C. As for the students in Class C, many of them have some flaws or were delinquent boys or girls in the past. So the most upset. But will Kuruzawa call others over? She is always working with the girls from class D. Saki Yamashita was a little nervous. Because Manabe was beaten by Ibuki in the morning. Ibuki moved out of Ryuan and was very capable of fighting, so they couldn't resist. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 200. But if it turns into a group fight with Kurosawa and the others, points will definitely be deducted. Ryuan will not let them go. No, Manabe-san said immediately. Oreki-san asked her out. Oh. So, several people came to the basement. The only one I saw was Horikita Suzune. And Horikita Suzune also noticed that it was clearly said to be for 3 people, but it turned out to be 4 people. Although I don't quite understand it, I already have some understanding. Kurosawa in his class probably provoked them. But since it's the assigned job, let's do it. So Horikita-san started working. Soon. Why did you hit me? What do you want to do? Don't shoot me randomly, don't. Then came the sound of crying. Horikita-san is always upright, but isn't this also a bully? About 10 minutes later, Horikita Suzune came up from the basement. Didn't you say 3 people, she said, 4 people came. So you just beat up all 4 people without confirming the information? Have they put on their clothes? Oreki didn't ask Horikita for the photo. Yet. Now cry down there, Horikita said. I don't really like doing this kind of thing. But aren't you doing it very smoothly? Oreki-san walked down the stairs. Oreki-kun, Manabe and the others found Oreki crying at the corner of the stairs. Didn't you say that Kurosawa is here? I also brought all the pear blossoms. Manabe originally wanted to question angrily, but when she saw Oreki was followed by Horikita Suzune, she shut up. And the pear flower in her mouth is the girl with the round head, wearing glasses, but now she is also crying. How pitiful. Oreki saw a bruise on Manabe-san's left foot. Horikita-san is quite ruthless. It's not that I want to attack, Horikita said, it's that if you be harsh to one person at the beginning, others will be afraid. It was my brother who taught me how to fight. Oh, so your brother is great. But this is true. In a group fight, with 1 against 10, the opponent feels that they are outnumbered, so they surround you. However, if you target one person and attack fiercely, others will easily feel scared, and the opponent's advantage will be reduced. And now that Horikita-san has become a bad guy, he doesn't need to hide anymore. Are you Rika? Oreki squatted down and looked at the little Rika and said. Okay. Rika felt very aggrieved. It was Manabe and the others who told her that Kurosawa was alone and asked her to take revenge. As a result, she was not only beaten but also took photos that could not be seen by others. Oreki nodded. Hit her without leaving any palm prints, he then ordered. The person receiving this instruction was Horikita. Why don't you fight? Suzanne felt like she had become a thug. I don't hit women, Oreki said. But aren't you instructing her to fight? No, Liwa immediately hugged her head. Manabe and the others already understood that Horikita Suzune was found by Oreki-san. That's why we can drive each other in this way. Why are you targeting us? Manabe said immediately, don't you hate Kurosawa? Haha, Oreki-san smiled, no, I like her very much. X5. And Horikita Suzune, who had just been instructed, also looked at him in surprise. Because he probably didn't expect that he actually has someone he likes. Haven't you been encountering the temptation of Kushida's beauty all the time, and then you need her to provide experience points to resist? It turns out, I actually have someone I like. But Oreki-san doesn't care what Horikita-san thinks right now. I like her very much. You also know that she is very cute. I have known her since we were in junior high school. But because I am in Class A and she is in Class D, it is not easy to get in touch with her. So you understand why something like this happened. Oreki-san stood up, don't provoke her or say bad things about her, otherwise. Oreki looked at Horikita. Horikita-san immediately understood, then I will post all your photos to the forum. Then Oreki turned around and Horikita followed suit. So how effective is this offensive? Manabe and the others discovered that Oreki and Horikita had really left. I can finally breathe a sigh of relief. But it's really too much, Manabe said, even now she felt like she was going to explode. Unfortunately, she thought Oreki-san was a handsome guy and if he worked hard, he might have a chance. Did he secretly like Kurosawa from Class D? And she was still treated like this. Manabe said, you have to tell Ryuan, didn't he say he would lead us to Class A? And he has to collect points from us every month, so he has to protect us too. It's better not to give it up, Manabe, Rika said. No matter how powerful Ryuan is, it only takes 1 second to send photos to the forum. The pear blossoms cried. If the photo is posted on the forum, I really don't want to live anymore, Yamashita Saki also said. So are we being photographed like this for nothing? Manabe felt it was unacceptable. There's nothing we can do about it, Yamashita said. Perhaps Horikita has shared the photo with Oreki. Then it was hidden or passed on to others. And isn't this super scary? Oreki and Horikita had only walked a few hundred meters when Oreki-san received a call. Oreki Houtarou. Manabe's voice sounded like he was about to cry, don't spread or show our photos, we are willing to do anything for you. Oreki-san glanced at Horikita-san who had already deleted the photo. It seems to be done. 4 spies from Class C got it. This counts as 4 spies. Then the seeds for the subsequent 250,000 points squeeze for each person in Long Yuan's class have been planted. Now it's up to Long Yuan dash. Oreki and Horikita-san returned to the cabin. Because it was already very late and they might have to take a shower later, the two separated at the corner. Horikita-san also cleared all the photos. After all, those photos are left as evidence that he was really doing bad things. But Oreki-san didn't stop him. His main purpose is also to prevent Manabe and the others from looking for Kurosawa. So not for those pictures. However, at the end of the monkey group exam, he had already sent the information about Class C's preferential recipients in the monkey group to Ryuan. Long Yuan did not give any reply. Haven't you started taking action yet? That's really disappointing. And when I think about it, Oreki-san is about to send a message to the number of the backup phone that Kushida got. You are not the other party's friend, the message has not been sent. As a result, this prompt appeared on the phone. And there is only one reason for such a prompt. It seems that he has been blocked by Kushida-san. He retracted his evaluation of Ryuan. Because isn't Long Yuan moving very quickly? The spy from Class D has been contacted. The current time is 22:40. Sorry to trouble you at this point. Oreki-san stood at the door of the girls' dormitory and said. Because Horikita-san's phone couldn't be reached. So Oreki came to their dormitory in person. Sakura-san is the only one in the dormitory. And he also knew the reason why Horikita-san didn't answer the phone. Horikita-san went to take a shower. Then Kushida-san seemed to have just left the house. So, Oreki found Sakura. No, but Kushida-san just left, Sakura-san said while standing at the door. Her current look is a little different from what she usually sees. She has not tied up her long pink hair, but has long straight pink hair flowing down.